Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be going over the 16 cards that are being added into the game early this upcoming week. We don't know an official date, but Tuesday or Monday night is the when the weekly challenge resets, and that's what a lot of people are theorizing is going to be when this patch drops. So not only are we going to be getting all these new cards in the game, but they are also going to be supposedly coming out with a balance patch in that same patch as well, some balance changes. So these first cards right here, these are the Series 4 cards, and then we're going to go into the Series 5 cards at the end. So these Series 4 cards, they cost 3,000 collector's tokens each, and then the Series 5 cards are going to cost 6,000 collector's tokens each. And I'll have a link down below to the news article that was put out from Snap that breaks down how to get the collector's tokens, what cutoff collection level gets you the tokens when the update comes out, and so on. Very exciting stuff, and I'm just gonna break down these cards pretty quickly here, and I'll tell you what I think. Let's go. First, we got She-Hulk. Now, not only does she have a nice curve in her booty, but she also curves pretty well sometimes. But the thing is, it doesn't carry over. The energy doesn't carry over. So realistically, the earliest you could get her down is turn 4 because you float mana the previous turn. So you could float 2 mana on turn 3, and then you could play her for 4 mana on that turn 4. So you're still paying 6 mana to play her. It's just you're getting her out early. I don't know. It's kind of hard to judge, but a lot of people are hyping this up in the with Wave. That is the main combo. The next card is Titania. Now, this is a very unique effect. We haven't seen this in the game. So anytime a card is played at the location, she switches sides. And, I mean, 1 energy for 5 power is a lot. So, I mean, it is just good to play at the end, like, just as a last card, I guess, if your opponent has the full location. Like, you need your opponent to have either a full side, or you need both of you to have empty spots on your board. Because then if your opponent does take it, then you can take it back. So it's actually an interesting card. I would have to think that it's pretty good. You should be able to get it back if your opponent takes it. You just have to be really, you have to be cognizant of how much space you have on each side. But 1 energy for 5 power, it seems like a strong card to me. Next card we have right here is Luke Cage. It is an ongoing effect. Your cards can't have their power reduced. So kind of like Colossus, but for everything that you have. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Hazmat kind of combo and preventing your cards from losing power. But if you're doing the Hazmat combo, I would think that you're probably going to have less stuff than your opponent, so you probably don't need this. But it's kind of spicy. I don't think it's that great at the moment. I think if we do see more cards introduced to the game that will reduce power of opponent's stuff, or if Hazmat does become top tier, then this can be a counter to that. But I mean, it can work with some locations. It's interesting. I just don't think it's that great. Next is Absorbing Man. It has basically the inverse of Mystique ability. So if the last card you played had an on reveal ability, this one copies it, and Mystique does the same thing, but with ongoing. The only problem with this card is that you need the last card you played to have that reveal effect. But otherwise, it's just a cheap way to copy a reveal effect, and there's a ton of reveal effects in the game. This should be just very good in a lot of different cases. It's a little unique because Odin does copy all the reveals, but it's only in that location. This card, you could play it wherever you want. It doesn't have to be in that same location with the reveal cards. That's kind of one of the problems with Odin, is that you're basically telegraphing. If you're playing a bunch of reveals in the same location, you're going to be telegraphing that Odin is going to come down on that location as well. So this just gives flexibility to reveal decks, and I would not be surprised if this does a lot of things. It might not be super strong at the moment when it releases, but I could totally see this being just very good down the line as they add more cards. Next card is Maria Hill. This is on reveal, add a random 1 cost to your hand. 1-drops are not the strongest in the game. But there's some pretty good effects on some of these 1-drops, and they usually have a decent effect along with them. So I would not be surprised if this card is run a decent amount, just like as a solid 2-drop in a token-esque kind of deck. It just allows you to play other cards in your deck, and this it provides you a decent amount of value for the 1 card here. Also, Quinjet along with Maria Hill, and the next card that we're going to see right here, Agent Coulson, is going to be pretty nice. So Agent Coulson, along the same lines here, On reveal, add a random 4 cost and 5 cost card to your hand. There's no guarantee these cards are going to really help you, but at the very least, they do help you just spend your mana and curve out. And that's pretty important in card games. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Agent Coulson get some play. Same with Maria Hill. I think Maria Hill is more flexible. This one, 4 and 5 drops might be a little more fringe, and there might be some more unplayable cards that you can get. But like I said, if you have Quinjet in the deck, I'm sure that makes this pretty dang good. Next card we got here is Helicarrier. This one is pretty interesting. When you discard this from your hand, replace it with 3 random cards. So I mean, the first thing that jumps out is of course discard decks, and then probably like a Hela kind of deck where, because this is a big card, you want to discard it. And it does give you some more playable things in that deck because you're usually running mainly big stuff to discard and then get back later. So it's kind of hard to judge. It seems like it'll be bad. I mean, the 3 random cards could totally be useless. I'm assuming on average, maybe one of them is decent or pretty good. So, I mean, do you even want to fill your hand up with this stuff in the first place? Would you rather just run a different card and discard that? Probably. So I highly doubt this is that playable, but it does seem like fun. I don't think I'd spend my collector's tokens on it, and I would probably be sad if I got it from my reserve, from one of my collector's reserves, but it seems like it's fun at the very least. If this is in your deck at the end of the game, it leaps to a random location. This is another unique effect that we've never seen in the game before. He's only a 1/2, but it does seem pretty cool in a token deck, just for him to jump out at the end. I mean, if you have Kazar out there or Blue Marvel effects, like you could be adding actually 4 power just at the end, and it's a total surprise too. It is going to be a random location, but I'm assuming you're gonna have most of your board filled up, and then you might only have like 1 or 2 slots. So the problem is if you draw him before the end of the game, of course he's only a 1/2, but if you do get the effect, it could be pretty powerful. So might be a little bit of a high rolly card. Not sure if it's worth putting in the deck, but could be. I'm excited to try it out. Next, we got a Tuma. He is a 4/10. If you have another card here at the end of your turn, destroy this. You can compare it to Namor pretty much, because Namor, if you play it on a lane by itself, it is a 4/10. And it's the same deal with this card, because if you play another card there, then it's destroyed. But this card does have some upside. You can create upside, and there can be downside as well. So not only can locations can totally screw you over if they summon things on that side. Also, your opponent can play like a Green Goblin, or they could send something over to your side as well. Now, something interesting to note is that new card that we went over before, the 1-drop at the beginning there, Titania, she actually does swap to the other side when you play a card. So yeah, so I don't know. This card does seem pretty good. I mean, it's a ton of power for the energy, but if you don't have armor down, it could be a little scary. You could also put down Professor X alongside of him, lock down that location, he will not destroy himself. You could also just remove his ability with 0, and that could be pretty good. Next up, we have Orca. It is a 6/9, so it's already good in my book. Ongoing +5 power, if this is your only card here. So it will be 14 power if it's by itself on the lane, which is currently worse than Destroyer. We should be seeing balance changes with the patch, so we don't know if Destroyer's getting nerfed. We don't know what's going to. 14 for a 6-drop is generally good. I mean, you can compare it to Hulk, which is like a vanilla 6-drop. This has to be the only thing on the lane, though, which should be decently easy to pull off. But your opponent does know, if you have that open slot, that you can play Orca there. They will know what your maximum amount of power will be. They can maybe play around it and just play somewhere else. He seems okay. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's an ongoing card, but you can't play this and then Spectrum because it's 6 mana. So, seems okay. I'm not like thrilled about it, but it is a lot of power. It is a decent amount of power. Okay, now we're gonna get into the Series 5 cards. These are very exciting. First up, we've got Galactus. On reveal, if this is your only card here, destroy all other locations. Now, this card, along with Thanos, these are cards that have been in the game that you can get randomly, but we've never actually been able to add them to our deck. It's very expensive for the 3 power that it has. Basically, the only way that he has the potential to be very good is if you can cheat him out. So the main way to cheat him out would be wave, I would think. Otherwise, if you're playing him on turn 6, then it's pretty risky because your opponent would need to not play anything on that location, or it'd have to be less than 3 power, which is very unlikely. But the circumstances where this becomes very good, so if you play Wave and then you play Galactus, and you want to play Galactus on a location where your opponent has filled it up quite a bit and they have a lot of weak stuff there, which does happen. There's token decks. There's a lot of token decks. So you could play it on a location like that. That's probably your best case scenario. Along with if you play Magic and you go to a turn 7, then that can allow you to play Galactus down on a location like I just described, and then you follow it up with a big play afterwards. So I think this card is actually pretty crazy. You could also play cards like Hobgoblin and Green Goblin so that you take up your opponent's side a little bit more, and you just fill them with bad stuff so that when you put Galactus down, it doesn't feel as bad that it's only 3 power. I think this card is very underrated already. I think this card could go crazy, but there might also be a lot of times where this card does nothing. It's either a game-winning or a game-losing effect, for sure. It's just super powerful. And the animation is beautiful. Valkyrie on reveal set all cards at this location to 3 power. I mean, if your opponent has a lot of big stuff there, then you're going to set it all to 3, and it doesn't require it to be 9+, just like Shang-Chi would deal with a very powerful board, but it doesn't deal with things that are below 9. So Valkyrie does give you some more flexibility, and she will also change your cards at that location as well. It does also work very well with Cerebro. It can be a little crazy with Cerebro, and it can allow you to play cards that are not all 3 power and change them to 3. So very interesting card. It does seem quite strong, but it's situational. Next up, we have another spicy card here. Super Scroll. Ongoing has the ongoing effects of all enemy cards. So I mean, you could compare it to, it's a lot different than Enchantress. Enchantress will take away all the ongoing effects. This one doesn't take them away, but it copies them. So it could be good, it could be insanely good, or it could just be like mediocre, because there's going to be times where ongoing effects are a lot better for your opponent than they are for you. Because, for example, if they play Wong, their ongoing effect is that the on reveals have, they go twice, and maybe you copy that, but you don't have a lot of reveals in your deck. So yeah, this card has a lot of potential. It's a very cool tech card. I really want this. Next up, we have Shuri. On reveal, double the power of the next card you play. I did mention this in my unreleased video. I'll put the little thing right there. There's quite a few cards that were data mined and are unreleased currently on snap.fan if you want to check it out. And this card is one of the most powerful unreleased cards that we had seen, or that in my opinion, the amount of things that you can do with this card, the ability to double the power of the next card you play, whether you want to play it on turn 5 or you want to play it on turn 6, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to double, this actually just, that's a lot of power. That could be a lot of power. And can do, I mean, the most obvious thing is Black Panther, but you can really do this on any card. So I'm gonna say that this card is one of the best cards that is being released. It's not really the flashiest card though, so I probably would be hoping for other cards in Pool 5 or Series 5. But this card seems very strong, and I wouldn't mind it. Next up, we have Bast. It's a 1/1. On reveal, set the power of all cards in your hand to 3. Another interesting card. It's kind of weird that this is a Series 5 card. I don't think I'd want to spend a lot of tokens on this, 6,000 tokens on this card. But, I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me, and to a lot of people, I think, is Cerebro 3. Because you can set, you don't have to run only 3 power cards if you run Bast, and also you run Valkyrie as well. So this will just change all those things to 3. Could be really powerful with a card like Adam Warlock and these other cards that have like 0 power. I think this card is cool. It's not super exciting because of course it's a 1-drop. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know that I want to spend so much on it, but it does seem like it has a powerful effect, and if you make your deck around it properly, I mean, it's going to be very good in that deck when you get it off, usually, especially if it's at the beginning. And the last card here that everybody is hyped about is Thanos. Now, Thanos at the start of your game shuffles the 6 Infinity Stones into your deck, and all those stones have different abilities, but for the most part, all of them do draw a card. So they cycle through your deck. Like, you might be saying the 6 stones going into your deck is just like really bad because there's not really a lot of draw in the game, but they all draw, they all replace themselves. And the stones have pretty good abilities, actually. They're pretty different, but they're pretty decent, I would say. And if you played all 6 of the stones, the Power Stone gives Thanos plus 10 power wherever he is. So Thanos will become a 6 energy, 18 power, which is a whole lot of power at the end. Nobody knows if this card is going to be good or not. Could totally just be a meme, but I'm pretty sure everybody is super excited to give it a try, including myself. I'm going to go ahead and say that he's pretty strong in the right deck. And also, Quinjet does reduce all the stones to 0, so a cool little thing you could do is you could play Quinjet, and then they're all 0 in your deck, and then you play Jane Foster, which draws all the 0-cost cards out of your deck, and that's crazy. I hope you enjoyed my insight on these cards, and let me know down below what card you are most excited to see in your collector token shop, and what decks you're most excited to play. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.